I'm going live on LinkedIn. Okay, cool. All right. Does it show on your end that it's going live by chance?
Over on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Let me look.
Okay, thank you.
Denny.
It's on. It happened last time.
I mean, I don't see it. So I would just find it by me going to your profile, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Denny.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, there you are. Yes. So I see it.
Okay.
Oh, we look
yeah, we are.
so fabulous.
Yay. Oh my God. So excited. Okay, we're live. Thank you for your patience. We were trying to figure out some technical stuff. Wanted to say hello for a you that are joining us today. I'm so excited to have Patty Dominguez here today because we're going to talk about how to stand out in a crowded market. So if you're a coach, if you're a healer, if you're a course creator, if you're a consultant and you're newer in business, or you're thinking about starting a business, or you're been in business for a few years, and you have a great service, you love what you do, you could help a lot of people. However, there's some positioning in the market that needs to be refined in order for you to stand out from the other thousands of entrepreneurs, right? So today I have marketing mentor Patty Dominguez, and she's going to talk more about positioning for profit, her signature process. And without further ado, Patty, would you introduce yourself, how you got started, being an entrepreneur and all that fun stuff?
Sure. I am so happy to be here. Thank you, Denny, for inviting me to be on this quick show. I thought it was such a cool idea, and I love this whole setup. And basically, what I help service-based entrepreneurs with is exactly that: is how do you position your brand to profit? And that is the one thing that I saw that was missing glaringly in this space, in the entrepreneur space, because traditionally people are very focused when they're starting out on their certification, completing it, etc. And I always say that that is merely cost of entry, right? It's the cost of entry so that you can perform the techniques or what have you to your end clients. What is missed is the positioning. And I always equate it to the equivalent of wanting to build your dream house. You wouldn't be talking about the paint and the furniture that you're going to have inside and the beautiful curtains. No, if you want to build your dream house, you'd want to start with the blueprints, right? And the blueprints is the strategy. That's what you would pay your architect for. That's the equivalent, is that positioning is the foundational strategy, and branding, which everybody goes to, is the thing that happens after positioning. And I think that there's such a just like an error, like it's time that is wasted when people that are starting out, and I see this a lot, and it's really because we're so excited to start a business and we're like, oh, I want my logo and my website. It's like, trust me when I tell you that none of that matters if you don't have an intimate understanding of who you're serving, why you're serving them, what problem you're solving, how you're standing out, what you're about, why you matter, right? And so I'm very much vehemently against this cookie cutter way of like putting yourself out there. Like, there's a lot of movements that have been out there traditionally. I write about it in my emails where it's like lady boss, boss babe, and all these things, which have its place. But I think that when we try to do the same thing in a copycat format, we lose ourselves in the process. And that's such a disservice, because I think the big opportunity and how you really stand out is by highlighting more of you and why it's relevant, because I am not for everybody, and I recognize that. And so I think we take a look at what other people are doing and saying, oh, she's doing that, so that must be the same thing that I could be doing so that I could stand out. No, no, no. I think that focusing on your quirks, on the things that make you you, on your idiosyncrasies, on doing all that stuff that is really featuring and highlighting the uniqueness of who you are, is really so important. And I think a lot of people, they gloss over that and they go into this form and fashion that they think they have to. And I couldn't disagree with that more. So that in a nutshell is what I help people with.
No, I love that. Thank you so much. And I've known you for some time now, and I've learned a lot from Patty, and I respect Patty very much. And I remember when she first highlighted most people focus on tactics and not strategy. And I was one of those people at the beginning when I first started my journey. I got a blueprint from a coach that was like, okay, just do this, and then you're going to be like super successful. So I did exactly what he told me, except that nothing really happened. And, you know, learning from you, I realized that I was like focusing a lot on just like tactics and like the gimmicks, like what's shiny and new right now, instead of really delving deep into like what makes you unique, like, you know, positioning yourself in a way that's going to create that demand for you versus just doing like the next TikTok, you know, reel that's like super famous or popular or whatever. It's like really focusing on those foundational things that are missing, I think, when you first start. Yeah, so that's really awesome. Can you talk about a little bit about simplicity, like any tips or advice that you would give anyone that is in business? And you talk a lot about simplicity in business. Would you talk a little bit more about that?
Yeah, I really think that there's so much confusion in the market because there's a lot of fancy marketers that are just geniuses at the art of persuasion. And so I don't know, I know that I have been subject to this. You know, I came from corporate, I spent 18 years in corporate. And so when I stepped into entrepreneurship, I thought to myself, well, clearly I got this. You know what I mean? Like I came from corporate, you know, and and it was just really interesting because stepping into entrepreneurship on the direct to consumer side, it's such a different beast because I would go to these events or I'd watch a workshop or a webinar or a masterclass. And I was so intrigued and persuaded that it opens up this thing like, oh my God, this is the thing I need, right? I have to buy this. And I couldn't get my credit card out enough, fast enough. And so all that led to was courseritis, right? I talk about courseritis. I know we've talked about that. And it's like, that is the equivalent, because I always want to give people this like visual. That's the equivalent of one tactic and then the other tactic and then the other tactic. And it's like you have this 1,000-piece puzzle and it's just these little pieces, but you don't have the overall picture of what you're building. And so where I go to simplicity is like, what do you want? What do you want to build? What are we building here? Why are we building it? And just going down to the foundation. Again, it's the foundation. It's a strategic foundation. And when you have that, clarity opens up. And when you have that, you have a path to follow. And so what I tell the people, the women that I work with, the clients that I work with is, if you're going to work with me, put your credit card away, let it cool off. Don't get diverted by other programs and like these flashy tactics, because I promise you, you will. And I've seen this happen time and time again, where people will be swayed thinking that, oh, this is the thing I'm missing, only to invest in a course, a program, or whatever it is, and recognize that you're like, oh, that isn't what I expected, right? It's more of the same type of thing. There is no silver bullet, right? So go back to the foundation. And I think that one of the biggest key components of it is I can give you the paint by number system. And have you ever wondered how there's somebody who can make $80,000 a month with it? And then other people cannot get off the ground to save their life. And this is where the work that you do is so fundamentally necessary, is that you will self-sabotage. You will, piss on any good strategy that's out there because you don't believe in yourself, because you have imposter syndrome, because you are procrastinating. And as you talk about so eloquently, it's not about the procrastination. There's something else going on. So I always talk about focusing on internal positioning first, right? Getting yourself aligned and getting yourself and your mindset clear, so that when you're putting the external positioning, all of these things that I talk about into play, it's seamless, it's streamlined, it's simple. And only then can you then go out in the market and activate. It's just that 3-step framework that I deploy with my clients: internal positioning, right? External in terms of the blueprint, and then the activation. Because the other side of it is that we get all tangled up. Like, should I be on TikTok? Should I be on Snapchat? Should I do this? Should I do that? We got to go to the positioning. Where are your dream clients hanging out, right? And so when you have that, it just like, and you let go of the noise and you recognize that there is no silver bullet, there is no magic formula. It really comes down to these three precise pillars so that you can get to that level where you are positioning yourself to profit, making your competition irrelevant. I think that's so important.
I love that. And it brings me to share that I remember when Patty first mentioned you can't move a parked car. And would you elaborate a little bit of the meaning behind that? Because I thought it was so fitting to so many entrepreneurs, and at the time for me as well.
Yeah, that's a great quote I heard from another marketer that I respect. His name is James Schramko, and I heard him say that. I don't know if it's his original quote, but to me, it made a whole lot of sense. I think one of the biggest disservices is when we are in this mode of let me get ready to get ready, and all that is doing is self-sabotage. It's like you think that you're progressing in your business, you're actually not. You're actually using this as a coping strategy to say, I'm doing stuff. Why isn't stuff happening? When at the end of the day is like, how often did you put yourself out there? What offers have you made? How many people did you talk to? Because it all comes down to the number side of it, right? When you talk about that. So again, you could have the best business strategy in the world and over perfect the crap out of it, because that's the other thing that I see is people over perfecting. Right? People working on the website 85 million times. I genuinely have the same website I've had since 2013, and I've just kind of added things to it. Why? Not because I'm being cheap or anything, but because I've seen other people who have a strong foundation and they have the ugliest website, but it doesn't matter, because the thing that matters is that they are able to resonate with their dream client in such a way where that person is like, oh my gosh, they really get me. And I need what they have because this is going to help me move forward. They don't care about what your website looks like. Yes, it is important to a certain extent, but don't get bogged down if you're just starting out, over perfecting the logo and the website and all these other things, when at the end of the day, really savvy entrepreneurs or understand that having these foundations are more important, because your client is only caring about themselves. Can you help me with my problem, right? Are you solving a problem? Do you understand who they are? Do you understand why they buy? That's what they care about.
Yeah, that's so beautifully said. And I'm curious what your position is on niching or niche, however you want to, however you want to, niche or niche. Yes.
I think, to be honest, there's an ongoing debate. I don't think that'll ever be solved. I think it's about finding the white space, right? So in this microcosm of 8 billion people, I know the thing that helped me is expressing to clients when they have been in a position where like, oh my gosh, that person is so popular or so famous, I'm never going to get to that level. And I always use that brilliant blog post from Kevin Kelly. It's 1,000 True Fans, which to me, I'm like, I'm so mad I didn't think about it. Right. And I didn't, he wrote it and it really made a lot of sense. It took away the stress. And I feel like it lifts things, is that you don't have to boil the ocean. We're just talking about creating a business where you're serving 1,000 true fans. You'll have more business than you'll ever know what to do with. So there is no reason to compare. There is no reason to feel like, oh, it's a competitive threat because she's getting more. No, it's none of that, right? And so it's like really bringing it down. And I visualize that. It's like, I want to attract the 1,000 true fans that love the message, that resonate with all my quirks, that understand that I'll throw like a swear word, I'll drop an F-bomb every now and then because I want to punctuate a thought, and that's what makes sense to me. Right? I'm not for everybody, and that's okay. And so when you have that detachment about it, it also is super, super helpful. And so much of what I'm talking about has everything to do with mindset. Because where I have gone wrong in my career is where you take on any client because you're like, I gotta get new clients in, right? I gotta take that business, only to find out that they were not the people that you were supposed to serve in the first place, right? So that's another big thing. That's
Yeah.
why I go to, it starts with the mindset. The work that you're doing, honestly, Denny, is like so important. I genuinely don't understand how people think that they're going to have a business that is going to compound over time, that's going to grow, that is going to evolve and scale unless they have that first. So, and
Yeah.
it's always continuous, right? Because it's like the new level, new devil
Yeah.
is the other side of it as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. When I first started my business, I didn't really know anything much about mindset and subconscious and all that. I was just buying all these like marketing and business courses. And then, like you mentioned earlier, I was looking at other people in the group that I was in at the time. That was like 5 years ago. And then they were hella successful. And then I was like struggling. And I was like, what? Like, we're in the same course. Like, I don't understand. And then I started to learn more about the subconscious mind, and I was fascinated, and I delved deep into that, and I realized how important that is.
Everything.
It's everything. It's like you could go for Patty to give you the blueprint to position yourself to profit. However, if you have those fears and doubts coming in, you're not going to do anything with that blueprint at all. You're just your car is going to stay parked for as long as you have those limitations surrounding whatever it is that you're afraid of. So I have a couple questions. One, I just want for you to share. How did you segue into serving the very specific demographic in the entrepreneur space that you're serving? Because it's really special, and I just wanted to talk a little bit about that.
I always had this big dream. I'm like, I so want to build a community. I wanted to be of women, people identify as a woman. And what I really wanted to do more than anything was create a safe space, because in the online marketing space, there's a ton of competition. And there's a lot of bro marketers out there, and they all have their place, right? Because I'm in a couple of masterminds and it's all dudes primarily, and that's fine. But I wanted to bring my own flavor to it and just really help women who have a strong calling, who have this desire to build a business. So my highest value is freedom. And that's why, to me, I'm so passionate about entrepreneurship. And I know that when you empower a woman to forge ahead and help them build clarity and confidence and serve others, it's just, you become so fireproof, so right, like bulletproof, and your energy is just really magical, and it really fuels my fire. So yes, I can help men too, but it's not really as deep of a why as building this community. So that's always been the vision that I've held. And it wasn't until I launched a community, it's been now about 2 years, that it came together, because I was procrastinating. I'm like, no, nobody's going to want to be a part of it. But here's the whole thing, is that I just build the specificity around what I wanted. Like, what do you want? Right? Be bold enough to declare. So I want to bring it back to you all that are watching this, is what do you want? What do you want? Be specific, be clear, because that is the one thing that's so important, is that you can't be all over the place. You got to be steadfast in your vision. And I think that that's been such a huge component, is, again, I don't work with everybody, and I'm okay with saying no if that person is not the right fit. And as a result of being very specific, clear, detached, unafraid of loss, have I been able to grow my business in the way that I have, which I'm really thankful for. And I help other women to do the same.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. It's such a pleasure to have you here to share your wisdom and knowledge and expertise with the audience. And let's talk about your offer, a little bit of value for our audience, positioning quiz.com. Can you talk a little bit about that for people that are watching us today and who are going to watch the replay as well?
Yes, so you can head over to positioningquiz.com. It's a quiz that I put together that goes into the pillars to help you to position yourself to profit, because to me, the positioning to profit is this constant continuum, right? I have clients that are in a top group that they're focusing on, like, well, how do you build a business that scales, that's passive? How do I work less and make more, and doing all these fun things? So that quiz helps you to get on the right foot. And then there's a report that goes along with it. And it's massively valuable, I believe. And then what comes after that is you would be on my email list, where I drop a newsletter or two. I infuse humor my way. I may drop an F-bomb. So if you're okay with that, join. It all starts out with positioningquiz.com. I promise value is where I lead from.
Yeah.
So.
Good. And I'm part of that email list, y'all. So I really look forward to Patty's emails every week. They are funny, they are engaging, and she does provide a lot of value in there. So check out her quiz at positioningquiz.com. And if you have any questions, you can reach out to her. What is the best way to reach out to you here on LinkedIn or?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Connect with me on LinkedIn, and it'd be an honor to help you. And if I can't, I'll put you in the direction of where it would help you. So all good.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you all for joining us, and I'll see you guys all soon.